If you get really good at understanding exactly how to service the top 8 to 10 e-bike brands, and you just started a website in your local area, I guarantee you'll never have to spend a dime on advertising, and you will be busy beyond belief. You will be able to get average work order values probably between $200 and $300, which is double what I'm doing here in our service department. Today, I have a controversial topic to discuss, and that is all of the reasons why I absolutely hate electric bicycles. Okay, I'm just kidding. I actually love e-bikes, but when it comes to my business model, they have no way that they logically fit in, and that's what I'm gonna talk about. So I run a bicycle store in Central Maryland where we specialize in refurbished bicycle sales. And I would argue that over the years, one of the main drivers of our success has been increasingly narrowing down on a smaller and smaller niche and getting really, really good at serving one specific customer. There's a certain long-term gain that comes from looking at your sales data, realizing where you're getting 80% of the returns in 20% of the effort, and just letting go of all of the other things. For us, that has been a zeroing in on Dave and Susan, which is everyday people that are just looking for everyday bikes. This is not to say that I am anti-racing culture. It's just recognizing the people that are coming in the door, meeting them where they're at, and making sure that our products and services are as best of a match as possible. That, combined with our business name, has developed into a culture of refurbishing and rehabbing quality brands, namely Trek Giant specialized bikes, stuff that you would have seen in the hybrid section of your bike shop 10 to 15 years ago is now on our sales floor, rehabbed with a 5-year warranty so that everyday people can essentially get the bike shop experience without necessarily going through the sticker shock of going into the new bike shop. From a business perspective, what I'm talking about is ultimately the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. I've seen this in so many different examples, so many different businesses. I really admire the practice. This may be a random example, but there was a recent episode of whatever it is that Gordon Ramsay is doing, where he went into Callahan's restaurant, which happens to be in my hometown of Frederick, Maryland. One of the things, I'm not gonna get into like the myriad of problems that he found in that restaurant, but one of the things that he did is he took a complicated menu and he distilled it down to like 8 items. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yes, because over the last 6 or 7 years, that is exactly the thing that I've been focused on, is what is the noise that's on the outskirts that doesn't actually pull in the revenue dollars, but might represent more of the complexity that I deal with in my day-to-day, and how can I just erase that? And it was a quick thing that he did, and they kind of breezed over it, but I saw it and I was like, if you can find a way to take your business operations and distill them down, even taking 10% of your complexity out, that has dividends that will pay back indefinitely. And I have obsessed over this topic. It's kind of been the framework in which I've improved my business by 1% each day over the years. And so bringing this back to electric bikes, I inevitably will get somebody in the comments who is upset about the fact that I am just anti-e-bikes in the scope of my business. But just understand that it's not a personal thing, it is a business decision. It is recognizing that working on and selling electric bikes is, even though it's tangentially related to bicycle sales, it is not exactly the same discipline, and it introduces a lot of added complexity that for me to actually invest in would change the very nature of my business. And although there are people out there that understandably have gained or expanded their business by reaching into this market, I'm not going to argue with you that the e-bike market's huge and it's going to keep growing. I'm telling you right now that I'm not touching it, and I don't see myself touching it in the near or even far future. I am zeroing in on a niche that is paying me more and more every year. And even though we get more people coming in asking for e-bike service, we treat them with the same respect that we do anybody else. We have partners in town that we will throw them towards, and sometimes they throw business towards us. I'm very much a believer in zeroing in on your niche, performing one job really, really well. With that increased specialization, you can then demand a higher price. And so for us, it's rehabbing old bikes and operating a small but scrappy service department that gets stuff turned around real quick. And so for me to bring e-bikes into the mix not only requires a conversation and new contracts with my insurance agent, but it also just means a change in infrastructure in here. I'm not gonna say they're all fire hazards, but I'd have to get a fireproof safe. I would have to get a hydraulic lift. E-bikes are heavy. I'm young now, but I'm not trying to cause permanent damage to my back. There's just all kinds of things that people don't really realize when they're bringing in something that has a unique wiring harness. It might have issues that require specific parts from a specific manufacturer that may not even have a service representative within this country. There's just a whole myriad of things. One thing that really interests me is that while I have found success in zeroing in and narrowing down and serving one customer, I will say I'm a big fan of the Go Grava channel, and he seems to be in the opposite boat where he found success by expanding and diversifying. So take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to say that there's only one way to skin a cat, because clearly there is not. He definitely stretched into the mobility zone. I applaud him. At the same time, I just would not dive in to all of that. To me, that just looks like a lot of complexity. If you're small and scrappy and you're really trying to get after it and you're trying to drive revenue dollars through service, it's an obvious approach. There's so many people out there that want e-bike service, and there seems to be few people that are trying to provide it. For me, I'm just in my specific business environment and my model, I'm finding success in other areas and zeroing in on that. Used bike sales have incredibly high margins, and I'm able to turn over a lot really quickly. Even though my dollar amounts in terms of revenue are small compared to most shops, my margins are hilariously larger, and that more than makes up for it when you actually look at industry statistics and what the average bike shop owner earns. So what it all boils down to is I'm operating a smaller business by terms of revenue dollars, but my take home is actually greater than the average shop owner. So getting off of this tangent, what are the reasons that I avoid electric bikes? Well, I really hit on the one, which is just plain old complexity. I would have to invest at least a year, if not 18 to 24 months, into understanding even the top 6 most common brands, wiring harnesses, what have you, so that when somebody walks in with something, I would have some level of familiarity. And the reality is, 9 out of 10 e-bikes that have walked through my door, they are a random Amazon brand that I've never seen. And I'm gonna have to do basically a unique, concerted effort into learning exactly what's going on with this exact e-bike. And that's really hard for me to do as a business owner, when over here, I have my regular analog bikes that are coming in for tune-ups that I can pump through, 30 minutes of tune-up at $120 a pop. I'm making, in a dollar per hour basis on this side, at least 10x what would be going on the e-bike side. And so for me, it just does not make any sense on an ROI standpoint. I have experimented in the past in being the yes man or being the no man when it comes to e-bikes. I've gotten burned enough times in the past that I have learned to put my foot down on it. No, it is not a personal stance against e-bikes. They are an awesome invention. I had one myself for a while. I definitely will have one again in the future. They expand the ability of the masses to use bikes for the amazing tools that they are. We used to have an electric bike shop open next door, and I saw it every day. It was people who were serious bikers throughout their 30s, 40s, and 50s. They get to their 60s and 70s, and they can't quite do the rides that they used to do, and they jump on an e-bike, and all of a sudden, their lifespan on a bike just extended by decades. And that is incredible, and I am all for it. I will never sit here and be anti-e-bike, but from a business standpoint, and specifically my business, I just can't make any sense of operating on them. All the same that I couldn't make sense of operating on refrigerators. They're just a little bit too outside of what my core experience and skill set is embedded in. And if I really wanted to dig deep and pivot my business model in order to serve that demographic, I could, but I am achieving more than enough success in the niche that I have zeroed in on. And so there's one, no motivation for me to do so, and two, no economic incentive for me to do so. And so it's not a personal thing, it's just realizing where I'm at and where I'm headed. There are other players that are going to jump into this. I would not discourage anybody from jumping into the e-bike space strictly as a servicer, not even a seller. If you get really good at understanding exactly how to service the top 8 to 10 e-bike brands, and you just started a website in your local area, e-bike service Charlottesville, e-bike service Denver, e-bike service Los Angeles, what have you, I guarantee you'll never have to spend a dime on advertising, and you will be busy beyond belief. You will be able to get average work order values probably between $200 and $300, which is double what I'm doing here in our service department. The opportunity is there. I'm not trying to stomp on it. I'm not trying to shake my head at it. I'm just saying that for me, it does not fit within my business model within a sensible way. So that's my official take on e-bikes. I don't see it changing within the near future. I know that e-bikes are the future, but I also recognize that my business model has its place as well, and I don't necessarily have to jump into a different trade. So I hope that clarifies my ideas on e-bikes in general. They're not going anywhere. They just don't fit specifically into my business model. If you want a little bit more clarity and depth into my thinking behind the bike business in general, you can check out the links below. I've got a lot of information under the hood. If you check out the garage mechanic or especially the local bike shop level, you can get access to Ask Me Anythings. I do live streams once a month. Or if you really want to dive deep and work with me personally, I also operate as a coach. You can check that out under the enterprise level membership. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.